We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Recipe for Reality, and I'm joined by the Batman, Mr. Zach. How's it going, Zach?
It's going. It hurts.
Oh no!
I ran 10 miles this weekend. It was very fun. It was very painful. I was in Disney. It was great.
I was just gonna say, you didn't just run 10 miles. You ran 10 miles in Disney. I want to pick your brain, but I know you're not going to be able to talk a lot in this podcast. This oral exercise we do every week. Welcome to Recipe for Reality, everyone. We talk about reality television, but let me just pick your brain for 10 seconds. Where did it start and end? Did you run through the parks, or was it around the parks? How did that work?
So you run through part of. I can't wait for you.
Light your cigar and then you grab your bourbon. No, I'm sorry, Zach. You don't have to tell me. It's okay.
I can't wait for you to make a highlights reel at the end of all of these. Yeah. At the end of the year when it's this. You start right outside of Epcot. And you run through Epcot. Cool. And then you run through the Boardwalk resort, and then you run through Hollywood Studios. And then the Disney Corporation sticks up their middle finger and goes, now run on the highway. And you run on the highway for 3 miles. That's the worst part. It was really bad.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, listen, I finished 10 miles. Not many people can say that they did that.
Yeah.
Less can say that they did it in Disney.
Yeah.
Well, I'm running the half marathon in January in Disney. So
let's go. In January, I'm gonna raise enough money to go and root you on.
Okay.
I would love to go, and then we can record this show there. It'll be great.
That'll be very fun.
That is awesome. Proud of you, brother. Always. I mean, everything you've been accomplishing, these hurdles over the past few years. every time you level up, it's amazing.
I got a cool hat. It's very fun.
Yes, nice. You love your black Disney hats. You have the one with the little Mickey on it too. I remember that.
I do. My black Disney hats.
Yep. Well, to pivot, I mean, I don't know how you could pivot to from running a 10-mile to playing hide and seek in a jungle.
Well, you can pivot with reality TV because Hannah Ann from The Bachelor was there. She ran. And that's reality TV. And speaking of reality TV, Dylan, Survivor happened. We haven't podcasted since the Gem Boot, but what's nice about the modern era is that the mergatory and then the split tribal, we can now expect it every time. And it kind of follows a similar trajectory of the merge tribal is always someone who's never hugely relevant, but still there, but not necessarily a main character. This season, that was Mariah. And Zach had been saying for weeks now, who is Mariah? Who's Mariah? Who's Mariah? And I was like, she's there. And just like Lydia and just like Sydney, all those characters that are there, but not there. Mariah ends up going home there. She plays a shot in the dark. It doesn't work out. And we saw that actually her lying and saying that she did vote out Gem ended up being the thing that did her in. Despite her being on the outs, she, instead of using that as a way to gain allies on the other side, it made them look even more Sega strong. But then in the split tribal, of course, Tim goes, well, you got out Sega, so now we got to get out Anami. And Q didn't like that Tim was going against the 6, gets out Tim. We also see Soda go home. We see Tevin throw a vote on Venus in case of a shot of the dark play, and basically not take the credit for Soda. We get back to camp. Tevin and Venus are both taking the credit for Soda's blindside, and Liz is sitting there saying, I can't have any of this, and then blindsides Tevin. This is the craziest 2 weeks of Survivor I've watched, and it's so great because I have no idea whose story this is. And every season I feel like it's last season it was this is Emily's journey and this is Dee's journey. It was very clear, or the Reba 4. It was the Reba 4 and Emily. Those felt like the big key story elements. Season 41, the Erica thing kind of came out of nowhere, but her hourglass, that was a big part of the season. So she had a story. Here, I don't know whose story we're watching because last episode seemed like it could be Hunter's episode, but then Hunter was in the minority because he voted with Tevin and he was blindsided. We also have Q, we got to talk about, literally at Tribal Council saying, it's going to be me who goes home tonight. I'm asking everyone to vote me out, only for this crazy tribal to ensue. There's just so much to break down. and I'm not going to make you talk too much, but it's just so much craziness that I feel like this Mergatory was very basic with Mariah. The double boot, we knew Tim and Soda were going soon just because they weren't very heavily featured in the edit, and they were always talked about as targets. But the way this kind of unfolded, what is up with people just getting rid of their close allies? That's the thing I don't understand. And as someone who plays orgs, like, I just have to ask, why do people feel the need and the rush and the urge to get their number ones out so early? Because if we look at it, Tevin had Soda. He was threatened by her, but he had her. He could have cut her at 6, at 5. Why cut her this early and then not get the credit? Because Venus thinks it's her idea because you never roped Venus into it. And now you not only don't have Soda's jury vote, but you also now are pissing off Liz, who thinks it's her move. But then also, why does Liz get rid of Tevin when Tevin seems to be her number? It seems like this is like a snowball effect of whoever goes home, their closest ally pays the price the next episode. And that might factor into my rankings, but I just don't understand. And then Q also this week wanted to get out Tiffany. And I'm like, Tiffany's the one person you can trust. It's wild. This gameplay is wild this season.
I think what it is that, and as people who play orgs, I mean, my big thing is I've tried to get my close allies out pretty early. And actually, in the moments when it hasn't worked is when it's paid off the best. In the org that I played, that I won, I wanted my number one ally gone at 7, and he ended up winning immunity that round. And it's because he wins immunity that round that I end up to go on and win. Whereas in not the previous 2 orgs that I played, but the one before that, my closest ally went out at 10 because of just like a miscommunication, and I absolutely voted her out. And then I immediately followed. Or no, she went out at 8 and I went out at 7.
Right.
And I think it's you get a trigger finger because you feel as though the more people tie you around with someone, the harder it is to kind of like make a case for yourself. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Q, is that he's starting to realize that people's view on Tiffany is definitely more positive than it is on him. Right. And when you see that kind of like coming down the pike, say, oh, well, I don't want to play second fiddle. I don't want to get second place. I don't want to get, and for us, I mean, like when we play online, it's just a fun little game. Whereas with this,
here it's real life.
$1 million. So you say, I'm not going to lose $1 million because I didn't take the shot early enough. Right. But sometimes the shot backfires.
And the thing is also, Tiffany has an idol, and it's the more rounds you go deeper, the more likely it is she'll play it. So get her while she's not assuming it. But the problem is, and this is Q's biggest fatal flaw, Q, because he's so loyal to the 6, feels like the 6 all has to know what everyone has. So now Charlie and Maria, now Charlie's an honorary member of the 6 now. Tim is out, Charlie's in. This is the new 6. Now Charlie knows that she has an idol and says it to her tribal, and immediately Tiffany goes, and goes, Kenzie, come here, and tells Kenzie. So now I think there's really no recovering for Q, because now Q didn't just try to target his ally. He then, by Charlie saying what he said at tribal, Tiffany now knows that her idol's public knowledge. And I honestly think now Tiffany would be dumb not to play it next, because why wouldn't you? I mean, it's one of those things where kind of like the extra vote with Maria played that extra vote just to get rid of it, to get that blood off her hands. And look why Tevin went home, because some people were like, hey, if we get deep into the game and there's a tie, Tevin has the power because of that extra vote. That extra vote ended up meaning something. And I think it's one of those things where it's cool to say you held on to it and you played it when you needed it most, but sometimes playing it when you can is important. And that's why Jem learned the hard way. She didn't play it when she could have, and she went home and it paid the price. And I honestly thought there could have been a world where Tiffany still went home this week. It's just luckily, I think Tevin was just such a big threat. And I honestly think Liz did a lot of good work about saying, I'm not moving. Like, I'm committed to this. This is my move. I want this to happen. And I think the interesting thing with Liz now, though, is that we haven't seen anyone be a number for Liz except for Tevin. So now the question is Liz going to now gain traction for this move? Or is it going to be, and I know you don't know this reference, is this going to be a War Dog situation, though, where War Dog gets out Kelly Wentworth because he wants the resume play, and then the next round realizes, oh shit, Kelly was my ally. What do I do now? And then they get him out next. And that's going to be the question for me. Is Liz out next because now she's just sitting by herself with a big move that she just pulled off? Kind of like with Emily and Bruce last season. Emily got Bruce out with the idol, went on and gloated about it, and then they got her out next. And then D made that her move, but didn't reveal that till later. And I think that's going to be a big thing too. Does Liz take the credit? Does she not? I think Liz is going to be a big key to this next episode. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but I think it's going to really be a question of, is she going to be open about the fact that it was her move and she's taking the credit, or is she going to start to fade back again? Because that's the Gabler thing. Gabler got out Ellie and then was able to sit back and be the alligator under the water. Is Liz going to play Gabler? Is Liz going to be Emily? Or is Liz somewhere in between? I don't know with Liz. And then the question is also with Venus. Venus has been getting votes every single tribal. Against Mariah, Charlie threw a vote on her in case the Shot in the Dark got played. Against Soda, Tevin put a vote on her in case the Shot in the Dark got played. And now Hunter and Tevin voted for her again in case the Shot in the Dark or Idol got played. So is Venus going to be one of those people who goes out because an Idol gets played and she gets stray votes? Or is she someone that we're just going to see keep catching votes and just kind of nuzzling her way into the final three? Because right now I'm getting very 0 vote finalist energy from Venus, but it is following her storyline of getting out her fellow Nami members once the merge hits. And so far, Soda's gone, Tevin's gone. Who's probably the next one on her hit list? He has an Idol, but it's Hunter, and then maybe Liz. Like, I really think this could be kind of Venus's coming out party. The only thing is I don't know if she's self-aware enough to kind of claim the right moves. And I'm kind of seeing a potential Cassidy downside where she gets the final tribal, says her move is her move. And then remember how Jesse was like, Cassie, that wasn't your move. That was me and Cody. I'm worried that's going to happen to Venus as well, which is why I'm getting that like 0 vote finalist.
Did that hurt to say?
It hurt to say. But I've over the 3 weeks, because we haven't talked in 3 weeks about Survivor at least, because you've been in Disney, we had your cabaret that I was in, like we had a lot of things, we were talking a lot, but not about this. But I really think Venus, I'm kind of accepting it more because I just think the edit, the merge was her time to kind of emerge as, for lack of a better word, as a contender, and she has been at least driving a lot of interesting strategy, but and the thing is, she's getting her way, but I still don't think the people around her are respecting her and acknowledging that she is essentially right. I mean, the thing is, it's hard because as the audience, we know she's right. She's saying Tevin's a big threat, Hunter's a big threat, Charlie's a big threat. Why are we going for Mariah? And why are we going for, Ben or whoever the vote was before it was Soda? I believe it was, I don't even remember who it was supposed to be. Maybe it was supposed to be Charlie. And she was like, that's the easy road. Why don't we go for it?
It was Charlie.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, or no, the vote was on Soda and she was like, why don't we go for Tevin? And that's the thing is her reads have been right. She's calling out the biggest threats. It's just, I don't think anyone else respects her social game enough to jump in and say, you're right, we should follow your lead on this. And that's why I'm hoping, if you look at it, that 6 is done because Q keeps blindsiding his own allies. After what Q did, I don't think Tiffany trusts him anymore. The people who are on the outs, who aren't necessarily in a tight alliance, but are just getting along with people, you're people like Kenzie, like Ben, even kind of like Maria and Charlie to an extent. I'm waiting for them to group up and pull in Liz, pull in Venus, these easy numbers that you can beat at the end to take out the bigger dogs like Hunter, like Q, and then eventually like Charlie and Maria. And I'm really interested to see if the season goes the way of all the big threats come together to get out the rogues like Ben and Kenzie and Venus and Liz, or do the underdogs, kind of the leftovers, if you will, kind of like a BB25 comparison, or 24, do they all come together to get out these bigger threats now? So it really is a hard week to rank because also 2 of the bigger threats, Hunter and Tiffany, have idols. So it's
and they should be playing them. I mean, at this point,
yeah. If Hunter loses immunity, he's playing his idol. He'd be stupid not to.
I'm going to just spoil you with my rankings. Tiffany.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Tiffany is number 1 and Hunter is number 2.
Okay, I have them flip flopped. Yeah,
and that's truly at the end of the day, it is because if one of them plays it, the other should. That should just be what happens. If one of them plays it, the other should be playing it, and one of them should be playing it because Tiffany's was exposed to her at the last tribal, and and Hunter was on the wrong side of the vote. Yeah. It doesn't matter who plays it. If one does, the other should.
And not even on the wrong side of the vote, but also, just look at the I think two big mistakes Hunter made in this episode. The hide and seek game, which I thought was amazing, just so fun. But Hunter picking to go high up in the tree immediately brings your threat level up because you're showing off that you are the jungle man. You can climb things. Number 2,
you're perceptive. You have more than enough. Like you're not a dumb guy. You're like, oh, you have prowess.
And I mean, Tony, who won twice, did that. He literally hid in trees and spotted people.
I know the Vlaco method. I do know the Vlaco method.
Yeah, and the thing is, the second thing he did is when he won that challenge, which was essentially the same challenge, holding on to a big pole or a tree, if you will.
You showing off.
At the end, he literally takes his arms off and does this like cool move where he lets his hands go. And Jeff, you could see Jeff saw the lawsuit just like emerging. He was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Not doing this. And eventually Hunter was fine. But it was after he had gone through a whole endurance challenge, then showing off. Why? I'm just thinking, like, I get it. He's living his dream out there. He's having fun. But why would you ever do that? Because now there's no one who's looking at him and going, oh, we can just have him around. No, because he's going to keep winning immunities. And if he plays an idol, he could probably find another one. And the thing is, his best ally was Tevin. I wonder if the reason they immediately settled on Tevin is because Tevin and Hunter were close. I wonder if that's a big reason why Tevin went home. Not just because of Liz. Because I really don't think Liz was the one who everyone was like, yeah, we got to follow Liz. I think it was more so Liz put the name out there and they went, well, Hunter has immunity. We could just get out Tevin. I really think that's what it was. And then Q obviously asking to quit. I think it was one of those things where it's like, if we derive from the plan and this is a big master plan by Q to play an idol or something, let's just play the safe route and go with Tevin. Because I really do think Q, in that moment, I really don't know what he was thinking, and I hope we get answers. And my worry is that he's going to say it was a game move, but it really wasn't, or he's going to say it was legit and it was a game move, and we're just never going to really know the truth because Q is so unpredictable. I think Q is a great casting choice, but not a great Survivor player, but just so entertaining. Like, he's the number one guaranteed new era returnee, like even above like Emily Flippin. Like, I think he is the most likely person they'll bring back. But I just don't know why Hunter is just showing off his threat level like this. Like, he has to know what type of role he fills in the season.
If there's anything, it is when you become comfortable. I mean, Hunter, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Hunter went to a single pre-merge tribal, maybe one. When you don't have to worry about your threat level management, you become very comfortable. And I think that's Hunter. That will probably be, and we've kind of seen it throughout each of the episodes. Hunter's downfall is not that he's a good Survivor player who is playing with people who are figuring it out. Hunter's downfall is he never had there were no worries, no cares. They were kumbaya for a while. And when you don't ever have to you never have to deal with difficulty in your tribe, you become complacent and comfortable, and comfortability is the death of awareness.
Yeah, that's
more
a great
comfortable you are, the harder it is to be aware of what people are thinking about you. But now he's at a wake-up call of like, oh,
yeah,
that's not good.
And I think on the opposite end, the same could be said for Venus. Because, like, I think Venus, and we see this in a little bit in the Twitter preview of her and Hunter kind of going at it. I think they're both kind of realizing now that Soda, now it's Tevin are gone. Like, I think now Nami, the two of them, and Liz could probably lay low if they wanted to all get together. But the problem is they're so fractured because they had all this pent up. It's almost like sexual tension, but it's the opposite. It's not sexual, but it's like it's tension. And it's just that idea of like you just let it sit for so long that you just immediately need to let it all out. Right. And the problem is they had to let it all out in a tribal setting when they were all vulnerable. I just want to pull up the rankings real quick, just because Tevin was a surprise. I did have him lower, just because I kind of stacked all the threats on the bottom. So I've come within 4 of you. But you predicted Q on the bottom, which I think was actually a really smart read. We saw the Q downfall coming. The question is now, though, does Q now become someone you want to take to the end because he's a GOAT you can beat? Or is Q just so unpredictable that you have to get him out now because he's just so bad? Because I know for Tiffany and Kenzie, they probably want Q out. But for everyone else, like, what do you think is the move now? Do you take Q under your wing? Do you keep riding with this 6 or whatever? Like for Charlie and Maria, who are very clearly at the center of this tribe, kind of the ones dictating everything, where do you go? Do you go with the Q and Hunter crowd because they're bigger shields? Or do you go with the Venus, Ben, Liz, Kenzie crowd where you can kind of take a shot at the bigger threats? Like, what do you do if like you're in their position, like Zach speaking?
I think you have to wonder where this is where jury management is really important, right? Because you can bring Q to the end and think, oh, he's going to be a Zeroville finalist, but will people be more mad that you let him go to the end when this is someone we're talking about? And again, we don't really know if it was real or not. Like if he actually wanted to be voted out or not. We don't know if it was a ploy. We don't know if it's, him just being like, oh, masterminding everything. But at the end of the day, how much do people respect you taking someone to the end who didn't want to be there in the first place? And there are spiteful enough people on a jury, especially when you took away their $1 million chance, they're going to give the $1 million to the person who is not you or the person, or you or your partner. And so I think it's really just going to be a matter of, if I'm Charlie and Maria, I'm going, what gets me the most respect from a jury. Is it bringing someone like Q to the end, who was so open and vocal about how he didn't want to be here anymore, or is it, me bringing someone like Liz, who is going to try and claim a move, but at the end of the day, we can kind of be like, hey, the same thing with Venus, right? Like trying to bring someone who's like, hey, this is my move, and then other people on the jury can be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah. Charlie and Maria did more of that move than you did. I think that's really going to be what it is, because Q is going to have a lot that he can say as an individual, whereas someone like Maria, or not Maria, someone like Liz or someone like Venus does not.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I think at this point, Liz probably has a better winning case than Q right now, because Q lost control in this vote, and I don't see him regaining that control. If he's able to regain that control and beast his way to the end, then like he might deserve it. But like right now, I just don't see how that happens. Whereas Liz has this move. It's the same thing with Gable or Nelly. Like she has a move to her name, and maybe she doesn't need another move. Maybe her whole thing is, I needed Tevin out because he was the king. Tevin, once I slayed the king, I let you all take out each other. I'm sitting here at the end. She has the perfect story. I think Venus needs to make something happen that she can make her move. Because right now, I think if she claims the Soda move, Tevin's going to immediately combat that. And I think that's her biggest thing, is having Soda and Tevin in the jury is not good for her right now. And as the first members of the jury, everyone that comes into the jury is now going to be greeted by Soda and Tevin, who are going to spill the truth of, this is not Venus's game. She's not in control, all this stuff. And I think that's kind of why we're seeing on Twitter, she's having these like moments of like angriness, where she's like, or anger, that's the word for it. But it's like, she's getting pissed off because I think she's realizing she's not in as control as she thought she was, which also makes me think she's a 0 vote finalist, because if she had made the jury, I think they would have told her, hey, I hope you know this isn't true. Whereas I think if she didn't make it to the jury and she went to the final 3, maybe there's a world where she never finds out that the Soda boot wasn't really her move. Even though she did have the thought to do it, it wasn't her move directly. It was honestly not even Tevin's. And I don't even think it was Liz. I think it was Charlie and Maria's move. If I'm having anything to say about that, but let's get back into our rankings. Anything to say on that? Yeah,
I'm sticking to my word. Venus made it past a round. She's number 3.
Shit! Okay.
For all those reasons. Listen, do I think that she's technically in danger? Yes. However, my thing with Venus is kind of in your line of thinking, where like, if Venus explains how clueless she is, why would you not keep her? Like, if she makes it aware of what she thinks, and you're one of those, like, if you're Charlie and Maria, you're like, that's not true.
Right.
And so why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to keep her around? So I'm sticking to my word.
I love that. I mean, I wish I could put Venus that high. I have a reason she's lower for me, but I have at number 3 Charlie and 4 Maria, just because I think they're kind of dictating the strategy. I think there's going to come a time where they realize they're the biggest threats, but I think right now, with Q being as wild as he is, Tiffany having an idol that's now exposed, Hunter being the biggest threat, Liz having just made the big move, Venus being the easy person to throw a vote on, I think really Charlie and Maria, I think, should be able to hide. If they're not, then we're looking for a truly crazy season, because I think right now, I don't think either of them are going to really be looked at until we get to like 7 or 6 at least. Just because I really just think right now everyone trusts them and likes them too. I mean, the only person we saw wanting to go after Maria was Tiffany. And there is a world I could see where Tiffany plays her idol and uses it to get out Maria. But also, if she's going to play her idol, I feel like there's going to be some vote splitting. And I just don't know if like Q would want to get on Maria, or Hunter would want to get on Maria, or even like Venus, because Venus and Maria didn't really see eye to eye, but ultimately Maria and Venus still voted together to get out Soda. So maybe Venus thinks Maria's in her camp. I think that's the power of Maria, is that everyone thinks Maria's with them. And Tiffany is the only one who knows Maria's not and can see through it. And that might be Tiffany's demise, or that could be Tiffany's big move. I just don't know if it's going to happen this week. So I have Charlie at 3, Maria at 4. So who's your number 4, Zach?
You could just put Maria at 4 and Charlie at 5.
Okay. Cool.
And for all of those reasons, Maria's my winner pick, and she's doing great. She's doing great.
Yeah. I saw something online she had posted that it was like the confessionals, but not by how many confessionals, but how much time. And she has the smallest amount of time of anyone this season in confessionals that's still left in the game. And I was surprised, because despite not getting as much confessional screen time, I still feel like Maria is very much shown to be a key part of the season. Her small screen time makes me think maybe she's not going to win, but like, I really do think this is a great season in terms of everyone feeling like they're present. I feel like of this 9, there's no one I don't know. There's no one who I feel is like under-edited. Maybe Maria, maybe Ben, but even Ben I feel like has gotten so many good moments and glimmers of like being a character that I think is showing that this is a well-edited season in terms of spreading the wealth. In terms of winner, I really don't know who's getting a winner's edit. And at number 5, I have the person that I think right now who has the best case for a winner's edit, which is Kenzie. Now, the reason I have her 5 is because she doesn't have that idol. She doesn't have all that protection, and she's not in the 6. Like, there's a lot of room for error. But the good thing with Kenzie is I think Kenzie, what you were saying about the downfall of Hunter and Venus not going to Tribal, I think Kenzie's the opposite, where because she went to Tribal, I think she's now prepared. Whereas Banu, like, really threw her name out there as a mastermind, but no one's targeted her come merge. Tiffany's been a target. Q's been a target. Charlie's been targeted at one point. Maria. I think Kenzie of this group is the only one whose name has, and Liz. Kenzie and Liz are the only two that no one has like outwardly said, we got to go for them tonight. And Hunter, because he just got immunity. But those 3, Hunter, Kenzie, and Liz, no one has looked at them as like, oh, I think that's our move tonight. Every single other person has been named at some point, whether it be Venus throwing out Charlie's name or Tiffany throwing out Maria's name. Like, everyone has been brought up except for Kenzie, and I think that's really great for her. And I know Carly's watching. She loves Kenzie. She says this is the first season in a while where her genuine favorite may win. And I know she's a big Kenzie fan, and I agree. I think Kenzie's someone who I also think the audience is loving a lot because she's not part of that 6 too. So there's that almost little underdogness, but she's still in control because she's social with everyone. And I really think this Ben-Kenzie relationship is going to come back for a real payoff, because one of the scenes from last episode was the one where Ben had a panic attack and Kenzie consoled him, and there was this really great moment, and a lot of people were like, oh, that could be Ben's like big moment, but I think it was more of Kenzie's moment because it was a Ben thing, but they made it a Kenzie thing. And I really think that's a good thing for her edit. The only question is she going to maintain that threat level to the end? And are they, who just watched Survivor 44, going to let a hairdresser from a purple tribe that were whittled down to 3 people make it to the end and win? It would be Jam Jam 2.0, but I'd be happy to see it.
I have, ironically enough, I think I'm at my 6.
Yeah.
I've Ben at 6, and then I'm just going to give you my 7. It's Kenzie.
Yeah, I've been at 6 as well.
And I just think that Ben stands to be collateral right now. Like, I can see him going home in a vote split where just like too many shots,
or like an idol gets played and he's
like a vote split. Too many shots are fired. There's idols all over the place. I feel like Ben is the person who offers the least amount of collateral for people right now.
Yeah,
like,
he's least blood on their hands.
And he's already got votes to his name, which same can be said of Venus. I just think that Ben offers a little more, Ben offers a little bit more of a detriment to people if he stays, because, or if like he has the power. He is Kenzie's pretty much through and through at this point. Like, I think that like he can be helpful to her. But
yeah, I think Tiffany's the one she wants to be with, but I think she also knows Tiffany's a huge threat. And I think Ben, it's like, I think she has Ben and Tiffany. I don't think Tiffany and Ben are really working together. So I think Kenzie has to be that glue, and I'd love to see that happen. Yeah.
And then Kenzie's a little bit lower for me, only because if people do realize she's a threat, and they say, oh, we can't get rid of Tiffany, let's get rid of Kenzie. Mm-hmm. One of the two of them can go.
Yeah. I have Ben at 6. I think Ben, for all the reasons you said, could go home and could be in the end. But the thing with Ben is, like, at this point, I think Q pisses people off, Venus pisses people off. At this rate, maybe even Hunter pisses people off because he's being a showboat. Right. I think Liz maybe is pissing people off. Like, I think Ben could beat 4 of them. I don't think Ben beats Kenzie. I don't think Ben beats Charlie or Maria, and I don't think Ben beats Tiffany. But I think Ben beats the rest of the cast. Like, he's, in terms of winner prospects, he can beat 4 other people, which is great because all he needs is 4 other people to make a move here. And then if he's sitting next to Liz and Venus, or Venus and Q, or Q and Hunter, or Venus and Hunter, maybe not Hunter, but like, I think he has a legitimate shot of winning because he's just liked. And I think that's one thing that you have to always, you can't underestimate, is that when all's said and done, you can play as many idols as you want in a season, you can win as many challenges, but if you're just really well liked, maybe that's all it takes. Yeah. Gabler. But Ben, I like Ben, and I think he's doing a little bit more actively than Gabler did, personally. Like, Ben's making those alliances, it seems. I don't know. Q is my 7, and I know that's a big hot take.
It's okay. No, it's good.
I think it's a hot take because I think a lot of people are saying, well, he's done. But I think because he's done, this is where we, the audience, get a little bit of a misdirect, and I think it's going to be someone else who gets out. Also, because I think idols are going to have to come out, especially with Hunter and Tiffany being as big threats as they are and having those idols and Tiffany having exposed. I think idols are going to come out. And would you waste the idol play on Q, or would you wait till the idols are all said and done and then everyone just get a Q out the next round? Like, I think
that's why Q's my number 8.
Yeah, I don't think Q's going home.
Q's got to stay low, but I don't think that he is the you now. I mean, and I think that this will be people's downfall eventually. Is people will have the thought process of we can get rid of Q anytime, get rid of Q whenever we want, and that's always dangerous in Survivor because when you're like, oh well, so and so can go home at any time. There's a lot that can happen between you wanting to make a decision about getting rid of someone and someone else fucking up, and that's why he's at 8 and somebody else for me is at 9.
And the thing is with Q is like he still, I feel like, does still have people wanting to work with him even after this big thing. The thing is, everyone could have just voted him out, and I think that's what Tevin was saying. He was like, "There's a guy who's literally willing to go home. Why don't we just take the shot then on Q?" But I think enough people are like, "I have Q as part of my plan. I need Q to be here," and that just makes me think. Like, I really do think, just based on the edit, I feel like Q is going to be in our finale. Like, I just feel like he's such a big character. And, like, yes, he's getting so much stuff that, like, I know, because you have him on your fantasy team, which I haven't updated fantasy this week because I have to count how many people said the words hide and seek. So I'm going to go do that probably in the next few days. But this is last week, episode several. This is where we're standing. So, Zach, you were way above. And with that Hunter immunity win, you're probably going to get a lot more. So enjoy it. But yeah, I think Q is going to be
only lasts for so much longer.
I mean, the best comparisons I can make to Q is someone like Coach, where it's just like you have this big figure who goes far in the game. How can you not milk every single confessional? And I think it's funny because episode 1, we're like, oh, Jelinski, what a train wreck. And then a few episodes later, we're like, Jelinski was the normal one. It was Banu who was the train wreck. And then now, a few episodes later, we're like, wait.
Oh my God, it wasn't even either of them.
It wasn't Q. It was Q. The whole time, Q. And I really wonder if that's the reason why Yanu was as bad and dysfunctional as they were. And now looking back at some of those episodes, it honestly makes a lot of sense because Q's all over the place. Q's messy. But I do think Q just brings such great entertainment where whether you love or hate Q, first off, I don't think anyone should hate Q as a person. I think he's nice to like on Twitter. He's literally owning it all. He's like, yeah, I'm ridiculous, I'm silly, but like I love it. He responds to everyone's DMs. Who all his haters give him Instagram DMs. He responds to all of them. Like he's really taking it well. He's being a good sport about it, and I do appreciate him, and I really do like Q. In this game, though, I would never want to play with Q because he's just so stressful. So. You have basically told us who your bottom is, and it's funny because that's my bottom too. And I think a lot of people are thinking because she made the big move, a lot of people have been putting her high in their rankings. But I really just think, okay, so spoiler, we both have Liz at 9. I have Venus at 8, and the reason is if idols come out this week, we could very well see she's gotten votes every tribal. So if Hunter plays an idol and Tiffany plays an idol, and Venus gets 1 or 2 votes. Maybe that's how she goes.
Yeah.
That's my big fear. Honestly, this is the week where if she can survive the idol round, she's good. It's like every time we set a new benchmark for Venus, a new checkpoint, she clears it. But I really think this week, if idols are played, I'm really worried she's going to get a vote or 2 and it's going to ricochet and take her out. And we're just going to see Nami just go boom, 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 and then Liz and then Hunter go out after that. The thing with Liz, though, I have her at 9, and I think it might be for the same reasons as you. I think she's going to be very proud of this Tevin move. And I think people are going to realize of everyone left, you're the only one with like a move, because the move to get out Soda was, according to her, Liz's move. But even if it wasn't Liz's, it was Tevin's move, and it might have been Venus's move. According to Venus, I don't know. But like the thing is, Liz has that move to her name. That is a move. Tevin was a big player, a big personality. Matt, who is a Frame Rec host, loves Tevin. It was his favorite player. He was his favorite player. I felt bad for Matt in that moment as well. But Liz took out a power player. She took out King Tevin. That is either going to get her booted out next, or she's going to alligabler it. I don't think there's anywhere in the middle. I think right now they either snatch her up as a number, because the problem is she's coming back to who? Because her allies were Soda and Tevin. As annoying as they were, her allies were Soda and Tevin. I don't think Hunter wants to work with Liz. I don't think Venus wants to work with Liz. Who wants to work with Liz? I don't really think many people do. Q might be the only one, and I don't think people want to work with Q. So I really don't think Liz is going to find good grounding. The only thing is, like, she could fade into the background if other people start taking more heat, or she could be a very easy next boot.
And I think it's one of those things where Tevin made the mistake of getting rid of Soda, who was his number, and I think he paid the price. I think Liz made a mistake getting out Tevin as early as she did, and she's going to pay the price. I think if she had waited till 6 or 7 to get out Tevin, that rhymed. But I think if she had waited till 6 or 7 to get rid of Tevin, I think she really could have been golden and could have had that underdog story like Marianne, where Marianne gets out Omer and then is all of a sudden like this huge contender. Like I really thought we were going to get that with Liz, but she made her move too early, I think, and I think she's going to pay the price. And also, I'm kind of sick of her. I'm back to annoying. Like she was, I didn't like her, then I liked her for a little bit of time, and now I'm like, I'm over her. So
I have nothing. I think I'm in pain.
Yeah, I know you're in pain. I didn't want to make you talk too much. Yeah. So those are our rankings. We both have Liz in the bottom spot. Honestly, if Venus goes home, I'm getting a ton of points, and I will be leading. So I'm not rooting for that because I don't want her to go home. But if Kenzie goes home, though, you get a bunch of points over me. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you, Zach, for making the time and doing this live. Thanks to everyone who watched. I know Carly, you've been in the live chat. What's up? But thank you guys so much for watching. Zach, any last comments? I know we kind of recapped 3 episodes in 30 minutes. It was pretty impressive.
It's pretty crazy because we've taken 3 hours to do less. It was good. A friend of mine said that they they're like, I'm not enjoying this season, and I outwardly was like, I don't know how you couldn't be enjoying this. This is awesome. This is probably one of my favorites of the new era, and I mean this is really just my era because call me Taylor Swift because this is my era's tour. Man, another good bite for the sound clip eventually. But I think this is one of my favorites of new era. I think it's so much fun. I love this cast. They're so good. They're messy. I
think that's what it is. I think if you're looking at a Survivor season as like impressive displays of gameplay and alliances, it's not the best season. But I think if you're looking for like characters and just drama and chaos, like whoever would have thought based on that premiere episode that Tevin would be the second juror? No, because he narrated the opening 5 minutes. It was all his narration. Like I think this is just one of those weirdly edited seasons, but it's making for a fun edit. Because honestly, I think right now everyone but Q and Venus, I think, can win this game. I don't think Venus or Q can win this game at this point. No. I think even Liz beats them both because Liz has this move. But I think Liz could win this game based on that Tevin move. I think Kenzie could easily win this game. I think Ben could win this game if he's sitting next to some lesser players. I think Hunter could win this game if he somehow makes it to the end, which I just don't see happening. But if he can make it to the end, I think he can win. I think Charlie and Maria can win. I think Tiffany can win. I think this is a season where a lot of people can win, and I think the edit is not making it obvious, which I think is also fun because at this point last year it was either D or Emily, whoever was going to go first. We all knew Emily was probably going to be the fallen angel because at this point we had just lost Kelly, and I think we were all like, all right, it's either D or it's Emily, and it's probably going to be D, which is fine, but it's also
whichever didn't go home was probably going to win,
right? And it's fun to know that like we don't know right now, and like right now I'd say the highest likely winner contender is probably Charlie or Kenzie, but like. Even then, I don't know. So right now, who's your winner pick if you had to like right now like predict the winner?
I want to stick with Maria because she was my initial winner pick, and my winner pick has never done this well before.
Yeah,
I'm gonna double down. I'm going to pick Maria. I think Maria might be able to out-talk Charlie. Maybe not Kenzie, but I think that I really do sound like Batman. I think that she's played really well. We talked about this during that episode, but I think she blundered. It's me. She blundered pretty big with that extra vote. I mean, like we say blunder, but like
it ended up being a good thing because now the threat level wasn't as high.
And that's the big thing. She's still calling shots with Charlie, and I think people would always take Charlie out before her. And I think that that's good when you get into the late game. So I'm sticking with Maria.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll let Zach rest his voice and rest his head and go to bed because I know he's had a busy week. But thank you for making the time. I know my schedule's been crazy now too because I just started the new job. I'm putting on SpongeBob with some kiddies. I actually ran into your wife. I ran into your wife at the theater today, which was very fun. Because she was rehearsing hair, I was rehearsing SpongeBob. So I was upstairs, she was downstairs, so it was fun. Anyway, little inside baseball. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week, I believe.
Final 8.
Yeah, we'll have one more. We'll have one more recap, and then we're also going to be recapping the next week's episode, probably on our subathon. We're doing the 24-hour live stream, and we got to be able to find you for at least an hour of that 24. Zach, yeah, we'll make it happen. And we're also doing a Survivor trivia thing, which will be fun. Which I believe you'll either be co-hosting with Matt or co-hosting with me. I was gonna say, if it was Big Brother, we'd have you competing. But I think you're gonna co-host some Survivor trivia. But the thing is, I think Matt wants to write questions for me because he's like, I want to see your knowledge, Dylan. So it might be you and Matt asking questions. So that'll be fun.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So stay tuned for all that fun stuff. Subathon's gonna be fun. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Oh, Beba, I can't speak. Good night. Bye.